welcome back to another episode. I originally recorded this video weeks ago, but as I started editing it, I realized I was doing way too much rambling like I do, that it's just naturally me, and I don't want to get away from the things that you really want to know. And so I'm trying really hard, and if you know me, it's hard for me to stay on topic and not just do a whole bunch of rambling. So I'm trying really hard, so y'all just bear with me, okay? And we're gonna get into it. All right, this video I want to touch on some of the things that were problematic for me during the build, and that kind of are still things that need to be addressed. And I'm gonna take you guys on a little mini tour of the house, like little snippet. So another mistake or whatnot during this build was, or that I, not necessarily a mistake, but it was something I didn't want it like this, was the foundation. Now let me say this right now: when you're building your shipping container house, or just like any other house, the foundation is the most important piece of that build. We did not build the house on the foundation like the style that I wanted, which I wanted the house to be built on top of concrete piers, so that the corners of the containers would be, I don't know what you want to call it, locked in to the concrete piers. That way the concrete is settled in the dirt and is safe and secure. It's just like a concrete slab that you put a house on top of. That's essentially what I wanted. Not a slab, but the concrete piers, because with the containers, you don't necessarily want them to be flat to the ground. Okay, you want them to be able to breathe. And so you want that space underneath, that crawl space underneath the house. And you want that anyway when building a house or something. So just in case anything, a pipe bursts or something, like, you want to be able to get to it. Now for those that are fancy and got the money and know the people that can do it, there are ways of actually building a shipping container house on a concrete slab and having the pipes basically hidden in the walls where you can easily access it. I know that now. Nobody was thinking about that when we were actually building. Okay, definitely not me, the way that I was stressed it out during this entire build. So anyway, the house was not built on concrete piers like I wanted. It ended up, or it's now settled on bricks essentially. And I got a lot of negative comments and things from people that had no clue or anything about building a house or anything. But I've seen many shipping container houses in my research, and even now, where they are literally sitting on bricks and they're fine, and they will be fine. Yes, the ground will eventually start shifting. That's probably 20 something plus years from now. But I am totally not worried about the house falling or anything like that. And that's what people was constantly telling me, oh, your house is gonna fall down and you put them on them bricks and blah 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 and this and that. Just negative. Oh, jeez. And it's the people that you know. It's the people closest to you. It's so annoying. Anyway, so I was upset about that initially because it's not what I wanted, but it's worked out. I don't even think about it anymore. But one of the hardest things too with this house was getting it leveled. Again, my dad, when he was helping me, was trying to do everything the least expensive way possible. And so he literally, and I'll insert some video.
I gotta raise this back down.
Explain what you're doing.
I'm African American ingenuity. The container slid this way and I needed to slide that way. You don't do this at home. Don't try this at home, because it's dangerous and it's not, it wasn't meant to do it like this. But sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do in order to get what you want, the results that you want. And in my case, I'm using, as my grandfather Reuben Payne said, use what you got, young man. Man made it, you can figure it out.
He was literally trying to level my house with a air pump. Usually I think these are used for when you're trying to jack up a car. Is that right? Like an air jack. Ain't that what it's called? And that, it was working, but what he kept running into is every time he would get it up and leveled, it would start literally sliding off the bricks. He'll lift one corner and it'll slide in the opposite direction or something off the bricks. It was the worst thing ever. That was the most stressful part of building this house while we were building it. So recommendation, one, get you a good solid foundation for your house. But make sure that, no, that's number one. Number one is make sure that the ground that you're building on is absolutely leveled. We tried to level this land as best that we could. Had a friend use his tractor, all these things, but that was not it. Like, hire professionals. I know from this whole entire experience to just hire some professionals. You know, I was so excited about a daddy-daughter project that I just couldn't even think straight. And so hire professionals to come level out the ground, get you a solid foundation to build up on, and a lot of these problems that I have will be eliminated. Because honestly, with the drafts and stuff, I really think it's because we built it and the ground was not totally leveled. I did end up hiring a leveling company that like levels the ground for mobile homes and stuff, and it helped. Because at first when you came in here, it's like you were literally walking downhill. Like, it was that bad. And after they leveled it, it was much better, but you still going downhill. Like, but you can't feel it. It's nowhere near what it was. So I just know because I live here, okay? But it's not something I just think about. But that's definitely something to make sure that you have very leveled ground before you put your foundation down, so that your house can be totally leveled. So I'm gonna stop because I don't want to make this video super long, and we'll come back next week for another video to kind of talk about the mistakes and more of like the pros and cons of things that I decided to do with this house. Hopefully this video was informational, and just to do a recap for this video, I really, if you're thinking about building a shipping container home, or you know, this is just something that you just want to know more about before you make that decision. What I talked about in this video are probably, to me, the most important things to do your research on. Find, you know, professionals that can do these things, and that is making sure that the ground that you're building on is very leveled, that you have a solid foundation. Like, know what type of foundation you want up front, you know, who's going to do it, how they're going to do it, making sure that it is rock solid before you bring your containers in and put them down. And then also knowing what type of AC type units are you going to use, mini splits or HVAC system. Honestly, mini splits and having them installed is just as expensive as HVAC. I learned that later, so I'm telling you this now. So if I could go back, I probably maybe would have gotten an HVAC system. Just that way I would have vents in all the rooms, and I don't think I would be having as many issues as I have now. But it could be the same thing because I have these drafts. So that's the whole thing. Mini splits do save on energy, or at least they're supposed to. And I believe that they do. I think my issue here is the drafts. So that's all I got for y'all today. Whew, I really got on here just being authentically me. I will see y'all next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Stay tuned for more. Peace.